and thank you for tuning in to Chillcast. Rolling in with Chillcast.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of the podcast. Today we have some very specific, well thought out topics to talk about, and I hope you guys like how the set looks. We're hoping the camera battery doesn't die because I just charged this one, so that's another thing that we're thinking about while recording this.
Yep.
So I put up a story on Instagram to see what kind of topics people want us to talk about. And the winner was work stories.
Yep.
So I think we'll start with that.
Yep.
I have not worked many places, but I have accrued very weird experiences from the places that I have worked.
Yep.
So, yeah. Let's get into it.
Yep.
So,
Story one.
Story one of many. This was when I was working at a grocery store, and I don't think I've told this story on the podcast before, but I can't be sure. So, picture it. Me and some of my friends are at the register, waiting to ring people up, and this guy walks up, and I look over, and he has carts full of groceries, like at least two full carts of groceries.
I remember this.
And I'm like, dear God. And so we start ringing him up.
Yep.
We're scanning everything, we're bagging everything. We get about halfway done, and this guy says, "Oh, no, not plastic bags, paper bags."
Oh.
So we had to take everything we had just bagged, which is about half the 2-cart load of groceries, and put them in paper bags. Okay,
Interesting.
you know what? That's fine. It's annoying, but it's fine. Then we were not doing it to his specifications. We were not efficient enough because we were scanning and bagging. I was bagging, actually, now that I remember. And I'm trying to fill these paper bags, put the right kind of items together, cold and produce and whatnot. And he walks over and goes, "You're not doing it right. You're not doing it right. You need to think Tetris. You need to think Tetris.
Tetris?
He kept saying Tetris.
That means everything will disappear.
That's true.
Yep.
He's like, you got to think Tetris. So he starts he's like, "Oh, just let me do it." And he starts bagging for me. And I'm like, "Oh, you know what? Okay. Sure, you do it. Obviously, I'm not doing good enough for you." So he starts bagging in the paper bags, and then we get to the end. Everything is bagged. It's a boatload of groceries, a lot. The total comes up to $800.
$800.
Probably a little bit more than $800, but like 800 something. And that's the highest total I had ever seen on a receipt ever, or not on a receipt, but on the register. And I was like, I was honestly in shock. And then, it's time for him to pay. After the big moment after him standing there and berating us, he's like, "Yep, it's my time to pay." He's like, "Yeah, it's time to pay." He definitely said, "Yep, it's my time to pay." He definitely said that. But no, it's time for him to pay. And he opens his wallet and he's fumbling through some things, looking at his bills, looking at his credit card, and he goes, "Oh, I don't have enough money. I got to go get some more money."
Okay.
And then he leaves and never comes back. So we rang up $800 worth of groceries.
And you had to put it all back?
I didn't have to put it all back. But someone did, because I was about to clock out. And he just never came back. I thought, okay, maybe because I left like within like a few minutes of that, so I was like, oh, he'll come back.
Yeah.
Well, I hear the next day he never did, so I wasn't even there for like him, not coming back. Like
Well,
and yeah,
Well,
so
even though it's still annoying, at least he didn't like steal anything.
I guess yeah, but just the hassle of us all bagging all of that stuff, and then him not having him buying that much groceries and then not having enough money to buy them.
Yeah.
Like, and it was a lot of groceries. Did he think that it was going to cost like $20 or something? Like what?
Yeah, that's something. Like anytime I'm about to pay for something, I was like, do I have enough money? And I look, I'm like, I don't. I won't buy it. But no, he was just like, I probably won't be there. It'd probably be like $1 or something.
Yeah, by the time I ring this all up, it'll probably get lower in price just because of the economy.
Yeah, that's how fast the economy changes.
Yeah, it actually changes your running total when you're scanning stuff. But yeah, so that was interesting. I later learned that he never came back, and they had to put all of that stuff back. And that was a lot of stuff, and some of it was cold too. So they probably let it sit there for a while, waiting for this guy to come back for his $800 worth of groceries.
Yeah.
And so I'm pretty sure they probably had to throw some stuff out.
Yeah.
But I wasn't there when they made that decision. But who walks into a grocery store, rings up $800 worth of groceries, and then just leaves and never comes? Was he embarrassed? Was he embarrassed they didn't have enough money?
Probably.
I don't know. Like,
I don't know.
But what, if he had no intention of coming back, he should have said, "Never mind." I don't know.
Also, like, I understand, like, if you haven't gone to the grocery store in a while, you're like, oh, I need a lot of groceries to, like, have a supply, even though you get, like small, like, or at least how I think about it, you should get at least, like, small, more supplies every once in a while and have, like, still have a good enough amount of supplies without getting it again. But, like, even, like, the biggest run, I would say, we had to do when we were basically restocking our pantry was like maybe $500.
And that is a lot.
That is a lot. But I mean, one, we paid for it and we actually got the groceries. But how long do you have to wait until you get $800 worth of groceries to like, oh crap, I need to get $800 worth of groceries? Obviously, you didn't know it was gonna be $800, but it's just like, how long? Like, and also, what were you doing in between, like, just not having that much groceries if you needed that much?
I don't know, and I'm shocked that he never came back. And what's weird is that that's like a common occurrence, which I didn't know that. I didn't realize that was a common occurrence. But like, I mean, I can kind of get it. Like someone like goes, oh, I don't have enough money, or maybe I changed my mind, or whatever. But like this guy seemed like he wanted these groceries. Like he was so like Tetris. He was like so like he was so worried about efficiency. He was so worried about like packing space and how it was packed. He was like, this is a big deal. And then he didn't even get it. Like, what was the point of that? Like, I have no idea. Maybe he got held up, not like held up, like give me all your money, but like maybe he got held up at the bank, or something. Maybe the ATM wasn't working or something. I don't know. But like, I don't know. I would at least call the store and say, never mind.
So like, I understand he didn't come back, but did he ever come back?
Well, I never saw that guy again. So I don't. Maybe he just hit himself.
Maybe
in shame.
he was like, they didn't do it more efficient. They didn't do it efficient at this place, so I gotta go to a new place.
I gotta go somewhere where they understand the strategy of Tetris. Maybe he was the Tetris world champion.
Yep.
Yeah. Maybe that's why.
Yeah.
Maybe we just disappointed him.
I mean, and like most people who play Tetris or games like that, to be that efficient with it, probably doesn't have that much money. I'm just kidding.
I mean, I don't know.
Kidding.
I don't.
Nowadays, you can get a lot of money from playing games. So,
do you think that he was buying those groceries for his family or just for himself?
I don't know, because if it was for his family, I would think it would like
He would probably come back for
it would push him more to come back for it, but he didn't. So it's probably for himself or for people he doesn't know well, maybe.
Like roommates or something?
Something like that, or just like, or maybe an event. Which, if it was an event, he probably would have come back for it. So I don't know.
Well, and this was at like 9 o'clock.
9 o'clock.
So
it probably wasn't something. Maybe, I don't know.
my head.
We'll never know.
We'll never know. But my head canon is that he was embarrassed that he forgot to bring enough money, and so he went, "I'm never showing my face again."
Mm-hmm.
Because it's one thing if like you maybe you're not in a good spot financially, and you realize you can't actually afford the groceries you need. But if that were the case, maybe he would put stuff back.
Yeah.
And then like get what he can get.
Yeah.
But that guy did not do that.
Mm-hmm.
He just left after like berating us for like 30 minutes.
Oh,
So-
I know. You know what probably held him up at the bank?
What?
The people weren't putting the money in envelopes fast enough.
He was like,
Or
Tetris,
efficient.
Tetris. The money, you gotta stack it like this.
Are those 20s? I needed 10s.
I need $8,000 in tens. In ones.
Wait, you don't have enough money, and then they just leave.
Yeah.
Yep.
Maybe I don't know. You know what? I think he was like from a different dimension or something. And he doesn't understand customs. Maybe he's from the world. He doesn't understand our culture because he's from the world of Tetris. Everything is Tetris to him. Maybe he is Mr. Tetris.
Wait. Maybe he needed all that stuff because all of his stuff disappeared because in his pantry he stacked it so neatly, all disappeared.
Yeah, he got a Tetris.
He
It
got a
disappeared
Tetris.
in his closet or his
Yep.
pantry. Maybe he stores his food in his closet. I don't know what happens in the Tetris universe. so.
Tetris universe.
I can't wait for the Tetris movie.
Oh,
You excited?
that's not already come out?
That Brian, I was making that up.
No. I meant there was I actually saw like a trailer for.
That was a show.
Oh,
and,
okay.
it's a it's a I guess a biopic about
Yeah.
the person who made Tetris.
Yeah,
I was saying,
or at least
I
the
was-
person who got it, who met the guy who made Tetris and was trying to get it to America.
Yeah. But anyway, I was trying to say
The Tetris.
that I was excited for the Tetris live action movie where the cubes and the shapes, the various shapes and
Mm-hmm.
stuff come to life, and
Yep.
then a bunch of live action humans go before a green screen and they say, "Who are you?" And the Tetris cube says, "I am Tetris."
I was about to say the exact same thing.
You about to make the same joke?
Yeah, I was about to make the exact same joke.
We're so funny.
Yep. Anyway.
So, but before we continue, I'm going to feed that pet that we have.
Oh yeah.
So while I'm doing that, you start telling your interesting work story of the day.
Yeah.
Okay? So, good. You have the floor.
Okay. So one day in the mine, I was doing my work, and my friend Jim came up to me and said, "Hey, the boss wants more, so he told me that I needed to work overtime." And I was like, I need to get home. So I asked him, "Hey, just this once, can you work and I'll go home and then I'll like buy you dinner or something?" But no, he got all mad. It's like, "No, this is your responsibility." And I was like, mining's mining. Like, you do it every day, so why can't you just do a little more and then I'll repay you for it? But then Jack came along and started playing around the supports, and we get mad at him for that because, if like a support fails, then we're just gone and we can't work overtime. So Jim was like, okay, and went over to Jack to stop him. So after that, I went home, and Jim called me and said, "Hey, sorry about earlier, and thank you for buying me dinner later. And I was like, oh, it's okay. I'm glad you're able to do it. But then I get back to work the next day, and Jim didn't do the work. He didn't mind what he needed to mind. So I got really mad at him because that I asked him to do that favor. Even though the boss told me to do it, he was supposed to do it because I told him to do it. And I was going to thank him for it by getting him dinner, but he didn't do it. So I went up to Jim and I said, hey, what are you doing? I thought you were going to work my overtime. And the Jim said, I can't. Or he said he couldn't because he had to do something. But the fact that he lied to me that he did do it was the thing that was bad. So, yeah, that's one of my work stories. I'll share probably another one maybe, but yeah, it was a tough one. Oh yeah, smoke shop. So one day I was in, oh gosh, that was so long ago, before the mine. Man, can't even think of that. Think of the time. But the smoke shop, I was behind the counter, and this guy came up to me and said, do you guys have any food? And I was confused, and I thought he was making a joke, so I was like, sure, would you like the Mick vape? Just to make a joke, and he was very mad, and so I stopped joking, and I said, sorry, but we don't have any food here. And he was like, why don't you have food? And then he put his hand on the counter and he said, I want food. And so I didn't know what was going to happen, so I went to the back and I opened the fridge. Well, all I saw in there were cigar boxes and vapes, and I was like, oh no, what am I going to do? I don't have any food.
I'm sorry, but your idea of a smoke shop is that they store cigar boxes in a fridge.
I know.
You're like, smoke shop. What would be in their fridge? More smoke stuff.
Hey, you placed that on me.
The camera battery's about to die, so I
Okay.
gotta change it real quick.
Okay. We'll be back after these short few messages.
So yeah, that's my opinion on orphans. I'm not gonna leave it in just because I feel like it might offend some people, but you know,
Yeah.
I think, you know, how have they contributed to my life?
Okay. Okay, do that again. Okay.
Oh my god.
Okay. Okay.
So yeah, that was a good work story.
Yep. Okay.
That was, you know, I'm so amazed about, you went from working in a mine to working in a smoke shop.
No, smoke shop then the mine.
Smoke shop then the mine.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy how you have black lung and tar in your lungs too. So like I have no idea how you're like not coughing up a storm all the time.
Yeah.
What's your secret? You just like believe in yourself?
Yeah. It's all about belief. It's all about your state of mind.
Yeah.
Your
So like
opinion,
those out there who are trying to quit smoking, and trying to, get better, he can do it with his mind.
Yep.
So no, that's not true at all.
No.
I want a PSA out there. If you're actually trying to quit smoking, good on you. Brian does not have supernatural powers, and that's quitting smoking is no joke, and it is legitimately hard. And obviously, I can't speak on that experience, but I do recognize that it's hard. So, jokes aside. But anyway, yeah. So black lung and tar is crazy. No, one thing that I've realized about the places that I've worked is that when customers come in, obviously it's always a mixed bag about, how people act, how people treat you. But never judge a book by its cover. I mean, that's pretty obvious, but never judge someone by their age either. Because I had this assumption that most older people were, super, super nice to people, like strangers, because, a lot of older people criticize the younger generations for not being very social.
Yeah.
And so my subconscious assumptions before starting to work at a grocery store was that all older people would be at least a baseline level of polite.
Yeah.
Because that's how I was taught to treat people.
Mm-hmm.
That's not the case.
Yeah.
Especially at a grocery store. Older people can be vicious, and so can younger people too. And all ages, it doesn't really matter. But the grocery store that I worked at, most of the clientele were typically older.
Yeah.
And you could not tell how they were going to treat you by how they appeared or how they, I don't know, you just couldn't tell until they get to the register. Mm-hmm. And all of a sudden, you are no longer a human to them in some cases. And it's just and I'm trying not to be too hyperbolic or exaggerate too much, but there have been instances where people have been very mean for no reason.
Yeah. Well, it's like you said, you thought, this, like you said, this older person, at least has to be somewhat polite, right? Well, I mean, think about it, in our generation, we have people who are nice and people who are not. Well, back then, it was, the same case.
It's a...
But again, like you said, you don't think about it because anytime you meet, usually when you meet, an older person, they're usually nice to you because that's what they expect from you. So...
I saw an interesting post recently that said how people respond to thank you can mean more than you think. I'm probably butchering what the post was about, but basically they said that most people of a certain generation respond to thank you with "you're welcome," as in I didn't have to do this, but I did. You're welcome, which is not impolite. Yeah. It is very polite to say you're welcome, and most people don't really think about it. Think about the response of "you're welcome" as oh, well, you're welcome. So most people wouldn't have that assumption of it being oh, I didn't have to do this and I did it. You're welcome.
Yeah.
But that's one of the connotations, right?
Yeah.
But here's the thing. A lot of people, in our generation typically respond to thank you with
no problem.
No problem.
It's all right.
It's all right. Of course.
Of course, yeah.
Statements that imply that helping this person is expected of you. Of course. Of course I would do that. It's kind of expected to do this. Or, what did I even say? No problem.
Yeah.
I want you to know that this wasn't a burden.
Yeah.
This is expected of me.
Well, yeah, but it's just you're welcome, even though in the sense when you think about it, it's oh, yeah, you're just saying oh, I didn't have to do this, but I did.
Well, that's the extreme.
Yeah, that's the extreme.
But I'm saying that I don't know how true that is or how obviously I'm not an expert in linguistics and deeper meanings, but I kind of see that logic. It is interesting to me, and I don't know if this person's data is accurate or whatever, but I feel like I have noticed that.
Yeah.
in older people versus younger people, whatever generation. But
Well, but then again,
I can't say for sure.
yeah, like you said, like people can interpret it. It's like usually when I say you're welcome, I try to convey the meaning like, oh, like it's just another way of saying like you can always count on me. Like,
Yeah.
oh, you're welcome. You're welcome to come here. You're welcome to do this. You're welcome because I just did something for you. It's like I can always do this for you or something.
And I feel like
And,
obviously,
but since people have said it so much, like you're welcome, you lose the meaning, but you know what it means. You know what I mean?
yeah, you know what I mean.
Well, but because like you can say you're welcome, and like sometimes when I say you're welcome, when someone says thank you, I'm like in my head for some reason, like just recently I was like, does that work like like meaning wise, like how does that work like word wise? I was like focusing too much on the words, but then I realized you're welcome is just a term people say, and it's just people know the meaning, so it doesn't have to work grammatically but it's just sometimes like I think about that, I'm like, is it? No, okay, well, I just stopped thinking about it because it's too complicated. But I also say like no problem or yeah.
And obviously at Chick-fil-A, it's been instilled in everyone to say my pleasure.
Mm-hmm.
Helping you makes me feel good.
Yeah.
Which then there's that whole debate of like, is there ever such a thing as a selfless deed? Because like if you do something for somebody and there's no real benefit for you, that's considered selfless, right? But then doing that selfless deed makes you feel good, and so therefore technically you are benefiting from it.
Well,
That's like a long-standing debate, and it doesn't actually mean anything. It doesn't matter. Selfless deeds are good.
Do good things.
Do good things.
That's our actual statement.
Yeah, ignore the smoking stuff. But yeah, so I think it doesn't actually matter. That whole debate doesn't actually matter. But
yeah, it's just, but it's so interesting because
I just think it's interesting.
Yeah. Anyway, back to the mine.
Yeah, back in the mines. Did you actually carry around a canary, or is that like outdated?
I think that's outdated. Yeah, because I didn't get it in training or anything.
But you had like a pigeon that you like carried around.
Sometimes.
What did he do?
He would just stand there, and I would just look at him and be like, "Hey, so how are you doing?" He wouldn't talk to me.
So he was kind of there just to keep you sane.
Yeah.
In the mines.
Yeah.
But this mine wasn't like, operated properly. It was like kind of a mom and pop mine.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. So they kind of had like just big sticks holding up the mountain.
Yeah. Yeah. That's why we didn't like Jack playing around with the supports.
Yeah. Well, your motto when you applied was like, if there's a cave in, I'm pushing everyone out of the way.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Well, I'm surprised they hired you after that.
Yeah.
Maybe they just really like your go-getter attitude,
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm surprised they let you work at the mines at the age of 6.
Yeah.
That's pretty young for a miner. That was such a weird statement.
Yeah.
My brain just like the double meaning of the word miner, like person under 18.
What chord?
A minor chord. What chord do you like?
What?
Could you imagine someone like tries to open up like a mom and pop mine? I don't think that's possible.
I don't think that's
legal. I don't think that's possible. And also, child labor laws are a thing. I don't think that would ever happen.
But still,
at least
even
not in the U.S.
Even if like not children but actual adults working, like mom and pop style mine still wouldn't be legal.
Hold on.
I don't think.
Hold on. What if?
It's like you go in, you build supports, you mine stuff, you sell it yourself.
Hold on. What if you open you get a business license, and you label the company as a digging company? You dig holes for people, but you don't
like in the movie
specify
Holes.
how deep. Yeah, like the movie Holes, where they dig holes in the movie Holes. But okay, let's say you get a business license, you open up a company, you call it the digging squad, and you say on paper that you dig big old holes.
Yep.
I mean, I don't think. I mean, I don't think you get investigated.
No.
If you just say on paper you dig holes, you don't have to specify what kind of tools you have to do or tools you have to use, or whether or not you have to break into stone or mountains or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, or the fact that you have to use TNT.
Yeah.
Like, and you have to buy a bunch of supports and stuff. But like you're using like sticks, but big sticks.
Yeah.
Like, okay, serious question though. If you were to open up a mining company, but label it as a company that you just dig holes, how long would that last until you get shut down or investigated?
Probably not long. Because
But I'm just thinking like a small town, you put up a sign like, we dig holes, call us. And then like you get hired to like mine someone's property for resources.
well, think about this. Think about this. It may be a little bit extreme, but you get a business license for a lemonade company, and then you buy alcohol, like that's a little fishy. You do a digging hole company, and you buy dynamite, and like it's like the dynamite, I guess they used, or I guess maybe mining still uses. I don't know. So it's like they're like, does a hole digging company need dynamite?
That's a good point. But what if like you go to court and you're like, we just really love big holes,
That would be the opening statement.
Yeah, and then someone would have to like type that down.
Yep.
In the records, it would say in the records, the people versus
The people versus the holes.
the holes company,
The holes.
big old
company.
holes company.
No, people versus the whole squad.
The whole squad. That's what it was.
The
Yeah.
digging squad.
The digging squad.
versus
Yeah.
the digging. I like the digging squad, not the whole squad.
All I'm saying though, all you'd have to do to win your case is play the Holes soundtrack from
Yep.
the hit Disney film Holes,
While the-
adapted from the hit book Holes.
While the lawyer is talking. While your
Yeah.
lawyer is talking.
Yeah,
And
just-
while the other lawyer is talking.
Just play the soundtrack. People will forget what they're doing and just bob their heads, and it'll be fine.
Mm-hmm.
We could start a digging company.
Yep.
We could do that right now.
Mm-hmm.
Let's do it right now.
Right
Let's
now.
go to the courthouse, or I don't know, and get a business license for $70 and start filing taxes and making money and doing the business stuff.
Yep.
Let's do it right now.
Yep.
Let's call and say, hey, you know that company you've been looking for? Well,
Well,
listen
listen
to
to
this.
this.
Yeah, I think we could do it.
Yep.
Um,
None of that is legal, probably.
So, I think it's important that we look at our options as we're getting older, like what do we want to do for our careers. I say I want to be a counselor, but like imagine getting to dig a hole every day.
Yep. That would be fun.
But like not just a hole, but a hole you can climb into.
Mm-hmm.
And you might find like, I don't know, a diamond,
Mm-hmm.
like a full perfect polished diamond.
Yeah, that happens a lot.
Yeah. And then you might, run into some creepers and
Mm-hmm.
zombies.
And we're back to Minecraft.
Minecraft. Man, digging squad.
Digging squad. Hashtag digging squad.
Yeah, I think we have a good plan.
Yep.
I don't see anything going wrong with us opening a company under false pretenses
Yep.
and actually, mining with like drill bits and stuff and whatnot. Giant cartoon drills,
Mm-hmm.
boring into the earth. If we just label ourselves a digging company, it'll all work out.
Yep.
That's my slogan. Whenever I want to do anything that's a little fishy, I just say it'll all work out, and it just works out.
Mm-hmm.
Like when I tried to start that blimp company,
Yep.
but I was really just selling tiny balloons. All I said was that I was going to be blowing things up and selling them to people.
That had to scare the courts a little bit.
Oh no, they didn't think I was like blowing
Okay.
like destroying anything.
Mm-hmm.
I demonstrated what I would be doing. I showed them
Yeah.
a picture, a really good figure drawing of me blowing up a blimp
Mm-hmm.
with my lungs, like, and they believed it. So, yeah, I see a lot of digging in our future. I think
Yep.
we could do it. I think next time we record the podcast, we should just dig. We should set
That
up
should be
set
the
up the
video.
set outside.
Mm-hmm.
And we tilt the camera down and we just start digging.
Yep.
And we dig ourselves a mine, and like we have like GoPros.
Yep.
We see how deep we can go.
Mm-hmm.
Put in some supports, maybe like use the lights as like supports.
Yeah.
That'll hold us.
Yeah. Well, I have some old shovels from the mine.
They only let you use shovels.
No. That's our beginning tool, and then we go to the
Get to the picks.
Picks. Yeah.
Yeah, foolproof. I think it's foolproof.
Yep.
By the way, that pet that we own,
Yeah.
I think it's starting to reject food.
Okay.
Like the feeding tube. He has like so much passion, and I think that passion is like translating into physical strength, and I think he's gained the ability to reverse pressure in the feeding tube and shoot it back into the bag. And so I think he might have psychic powers at this point. So
Okay.
so no one take our idea about the digging company.
Yeah, it's our idea. We're gonna get a patent.
Like the goal isn't to make money; it's to see how long we can stay afloat and stay legal and not get in trouble with the law.
You guys could like donate some money to get us off the ground. To Digging Squad.
Diggingsquad.com/don't tell the government that we're lying.
Yep. Foolproof name.
So how's school going?
It's going pretty good. A little hard to get through class when I'm coughing up tar, but
Yeah, that one time you coughed up a whole pile of tar onto that math test.
yeah, it did perfectly land to the shape of a 2. That wasn't the answer, but it perfectly land in the shape of a 2, and the teacher was impressed, but then immediately got mad, and called the hospital. But I was like, nah.
Yeah, but I feel like if you can cough up tar into specific shapes, then you shouldn't have to go to college.
Yeah.
I feel like you have a career out there, and it at bare minimum you could entertain our future employees with your tar spitting techniques.
Yep. And that's why it's gonna be easy to start a business, because I already have a business degree from doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think this is like the most we've just spouted out absolute
lies.
stupidity
Yeah.
in one episode. I don't even think people are watching anymore.
Yeah.
Mainly the reason I wanted to just go all in on just BSing is because I wanted to see if I could get you to laugh.
Yeah.
But you managed to get me to laugh first. With the smoke shop story.
Yep.
You're like, yeah, I checked the fridge and there were cigars.
Cigars and babes.
I don't know. But I mean, my motto is try to make the podcast entertaining, but if we can't, just make each other laugh. That's I'm gonna put that up one day on a sign.
Yeah, the thing about the orphans really got me.
The orphans?
because you started saying that, and you were waiting for a second, and you were just like sitting to think about something. I was like, oh, what is he gonna say? Because like he just said, oh, I'm not gonna talk about it. But then you're just like, what have they done? and I was just like, no, that's just
yeah. Well, I think we're gonna end it here.
Yep.
I think we're about tapped out on pure comedy genius.
Yep.
We're gonna have to we're gonna have to take a sleep and recharge. Take a sleep and recharge. I honestly really enjoyed this episode. I feel like this was a lot of fun to record.
Yeah.
I'll probably trim down
some of it, a lot of it.
I don't know. I don't know if I can. I guess I kind of have to leave in the mining story, but I'm gonna be honest. I lost the plot while I was checking the lights. I mean, checking our pet. So, see you guys next time.
Woo!